Hello everyone, and welcome to your last theory lesson for the design section of web design and development. Here's your starter. If you were to design the prototype of a website all about the National 5 Computing Science Web Design and Development Unit, what background colour and font colour would you use? Okay, so you're designing a website. What background colour would you have for every slide, and what font colour would you use? That's your starter. Now I just want to go over what you're supposed to know at the design stage so we can see where we are and why we're on the last lesson. First of all, you had to describe and exemplify the website structure with a home page and a maximum of 4 linked pages and any necessary external links. You've done that. Then you had to describe and implement, taking into account end user requirements, effective user interface design, visual layout and readability using wireframing. And we looked at navigational links, consistency, relative vertical positioning, and the file formats for text, graphics, video, and audio. Yep, we've done that. However, we haven't looked at describing and identifying the implications for individuals and businesses of the Copyright Designs and Patents Act relating to web content, text, graphics, video, and audio. So we've still got that to do. But compare a range of standard file formats. Audio standard file formats WAV and MP3 in terms of compression, quality and file size, done that. Comparing bitmap graphics standard file formats, JPEG, GIF and PNG in terms of compression, animation, transparency and colour depth, we've done that. Describe the factors affecting file size and quality relating to resolution, colour depth and sampling rate, done that. Describe the need for compression, yep, we've done that. But here's another bit we haven't. Describe, exemplify and implement prototyping, low fidelity variety, from a wireframe design at this level. So that's what we're looking at today. So we'll start with the Copyright Designs and Patents Act, which has 2 main purposes. To ensure that people are rewarded for their endeavours. If you make a movie, if you write a book, if you create a song, you're the person that's supposed to make the money out of it. And the Copyright Designs and Patents Act gives protection to the copyright holder if somebody tries to copy or steal their work. So if you go and download something for free that you should have paid for, that is illegal and you're breaking the Copyright Designs and Patents Act. That would be the act that you'd be prosecuted under, and that is to try and protect the rights of the person who actually created the movie or the book or the song, whatever. So creators of websites must make sure that the content they use on their site, including text or graphics or video or audio, is one of the following. So first of all, you're going to be absolutely fine if it's your own. When I created my Scotland webpage, I added a video of a Highland cow that I took myself. So that's fine, I'm not breaking the law. Or, now there's 4 of these, you could make sure that you use something that's free from copyright. Now, the recording, the sound audio file that I used for the Flower of Scotland, I actually was able to download that for free and use that copyright free. Okay, so I wasn't breaking the law with that one. Thirdly, you can get the permission of the copyright holder. Now, often what you can do is you might find a good picture, find out who owns the picture, and literally send them an email, explain that you want to put it on your website, and usually they'll say yes. Okay, sometimes they want you to actually put a note of their name to say that they were the owner of the actual graphic or whatever. But yes, you can use it if you have permission. And finally, you can buy it. Okay, you can actually pay for a graphic or a video or a sound clip that you want to include on your webpage. So these are the 4 ways that you can include the media on your site legally. Copyright Designs and Patents Act. Okay. So the other thing that we were to look at was low fidelity prototypes. So first of all, what are they? Now, a prototype is used to show the user interface for a web page. Now, that sounds a bit familiar because we've already looked at wireframes. Now, wireframes come first, and the wireframes are for the developers of the web page, and they sort of come up with how they're going to lay the page out, what they think will go where. But once you've done that, you want to get the intended audience, your actual end users, okay? You want to bring them in and show them a prototype of the finished product. So if you're a web developer, you will have a client that you're making the website for, and you will produce a low fidelity prototype to let those clients, the end users, see a better, a clearer idea of what the finished product would look like. So low fidelity prototypes are paper-based, and they show in a very low-tech, sort of sketchy format what the finished page will look like. Okay, so why do we do this? This comes straight, by the way, from the appendix at the bottom down here. I've got appendix 11, I'll show you that in a second. They can be created quickly, just hand drawing them, and they can give potential end users of the finished product an indication of how the product, the website, will look and feel as they interact with it. The prototype website is tested by asking another user to press imaginary links on the paper and then checking which other bit of paper, the other web page, that will take them to. And that allows the navigation structure of the website to be tested. And the end user is then able to confirm that the position of the page objects, the way you've arranged them, is acceptable to them. So these three things are important. The end user gets an indication of how the product will look and feel as they interact with it. The navigation structure of the website can be tested, and the end user is able to confirm that the position of the page objects are acceptable to them. Now that's three different reasons why we use low fidelity prototypes. They're for the end user, and this could be a question that will actually come up most years so far. It's the only thing they can ask about low fidelity prototypes. Okay, so make sure that you learn that. So I've got some examples here. This first example here, that actually comes from the specimen assignment that was published back in about 2017. And it's basically a sketch. It shows you exactly what they want the web page to look like. The heading is going to be over on the right. And that's exactly what it's going to be called. Then there's another heading about our company, and then a little bit of blurb, then our bestseller, and then there's 3 images, and there's little bits of text. Okay, it's showing exactly what the page will look like. These two examples both come from this SQA appendix number 11, and again, just handwritten on paper, so basically the wording, blue and underlined, that's obviously some hyperlinks. You don't have to say that they're internal, it's kind of obvious. Water sports in Scotland, exactly what the hyperlink would look like, blue and underlined. And they've just hand-drawn the picture in this other example. So let's have a quick look at appendix number 11. Here we go, this is appendix number 11, all about low fidelity prototyping. Now, I'm not very happy with this appendix because although it does start off talking about National 5 level stuff, it quite quickly goes on to talk in quite a lot of depth about what would happen at higher level. So if you look at this, I mean, this sentence here is exactly what I've put on the PowerPoint. So there's information on here that's definitely relevant to National 5, but it does go on to talk about things that are not in the National 5 course. Okay, and then there are the examples that I've just put in that slide I showed you. And down at the bottom, there's a wee actual little callback to the Copyright Designs and Patents Act. The person that created this appendix has included this photograph, and they've had to put the acknowledgement for Lee Morris. Okay, so that means that they're not breaking the law. They found this image and they've got permission to show it. Right, back to PowerPoint. Okay, so your practical task. By the way, that's all the theory. That's us done. Your practical task is you are going to create a wireframe and a low fidelity prototype and a completed web page for a fairy cake recipe web page. Okay, now you know how to do wireframes because you did a whole exercise on that and you know what they should look like. You know how to do web pages because you've done a good few for me now actually, and lots of different things on them. So the main part that we're thinking about here is your low fidelity prototype. But you've got to make sure that you understand how they all fit together. So let me show you that task. The task is actually in a PowerPoint. It's a PowerPoint with 5 slides. Okay, so I've got spaces for you to fill information in. First of all, let's have your name and class, please, on this document before you complete it and send it back to me. So using some or all of the resources on slide 2, which is this slide here, make up a low fidelity prototype on slide 4, please pay attention to that, that's down here, number 4, for the Fairy Cakes page on a recipe website. The layout and any additional elements is entirely up to you. You are going to design this page for me. On slide 3, you make the corresponding wireframe. So you should make the wireframe first. Okay, that's your design. Then you'll come up with the low fidelity prototype, which you would show to your end user, and then they decide if they like it or not. Once they say yes, you would then go ahead and make the web page. And I want you to put a screenshot of your completed web page on slide number 5. Here are the resources. Now you should be able to tell at a glance that some of these come straight from a wireframe. For example, these graphics. Now obviously you would have to come up with the name of your graphic here that you're going to use in your web page. And for example here we've got ordered list of method. That would go in a wireframe. Whereas over here, this is the actual wording, so that would be the bit that would appear on your low fidelity prototype. Okay. For the wireframe, you would put the picture, just a sketch of the picture that you want to have on your web page. But in the wireframe, you would have this rectangle with the diagonal lines and the proper name. Okay. So you guys have to come up with a wireframe for a page, for a fairy cake recipe, the low fidelity prototype, and then I want you to create the web page. So slide 3, wireframe, slide 4, low fidelity prototype, and then create your web page in Notepad++. Source all the media yourself. Now this is for educational purposes. You don't need to worry about the Copyright Designs and Patents Act. So you find your own pictures and make them appear on your page, and then add a screenshot of it onto the final slide. A final page on slide 5. Okay, so that's your task, a nice creative task for you for the end of the week. So just quickly back to the original PowerPoint. So by the way, my writing's atrocious. 2 eggs, 100 grams of castor sugar, 100 grams of butter, 100 grams of self-raising flour, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 200 grams of icing sugar, and a small bag of Dolly mixtures. That's your ingredients. Okay, but you could do a different recipe if you want. So overall, your tasks. Send your answer to the starter in a comment to Satchel1. That's entirely creative, there's no correct answer. It's your design decision. And then you design task sheet 12, low fidelity prototype, and a wireframe, and creating a web page. Okay guys, and that's everything till the end of the week. Take care. Bye bye.